Hey everyone, how are you doing? You have Mike here, and today we're getting the first look at the ViparSpectra XS1500. So ViparSpectra has come a long way since the blurple lights. Last year they brought us the P Series, which you see behind us, and now we have the XS Series. So I want to give you guys a closer look. Let's get to it. So I hope you did enjoy that little clip. So let's cover what the changes have really happened. I know you've seen that there was Samsung, diodes, and Mean Well drivers. So let's get into that right now. So this light here is using the LM301B from Samsung for the 3000 and 5000K. It also uses the Sanan chips for the 660 deep red nanometers as well as the 730 IR. So this year, we expect to see a little bit more power than we do off the P Series. And at the end of this video, we are going to compare the P Series to the XS Series so we can see the difference that the Samsung chips produce. So I also wanted to mention that on the light itself, they do have a gel coating on this light, just like the P Series. And that's really going to give it waterproofing ability. So once again, if water were to get splashed on your light, it's not going to cause any damage because it is, fairly water resistant with this coating that they have on here. I also want to point out the dimmer, just in case you haven't seen the last videos. I'm going to plug in the light for that. So the dimmer switch starts at 5%, and you can gradually turn it up to 100%. 100% would be using full power. We'll wait till we get to the testing portion for me to give you a little bit more details on how much power we're actually drawing from the wall and so forth. So with the driver, they went with a Mean Well HLG series. So they didn't just throw a Mean Well on here for the namesake of being a Mean Well. They actually went and put an HLG. I've seen in many of the polls that Vipar has put out that you guys were asking for an HLG, and that's exactly what you got. So I think they made a right call with the HLG driver on this light. So with this driver, some really cool features of it. It's IP65 rated for waterproof, so indoor-outdoor use. 7-year warranty on this driver, which is pretty neat. 62,000 hour operating hours and 94% efficiency. So this is a really nice driver that they went and threw on here. So as you can tell, they did stick with the newer P Series style frame, which was just a great call. As you've seen from other videos, just trying to bend or anything, this light is really solid, really sturdy, and that's due to the frame and to the actual design. Now, when they actually released these lights, they were still pushing blurple while all these other companies were putting out QB style panels like this. And the reason why they were so late to the game is because they actually took the time and designed a light that was really usable for more than one series, and that's what we're seeing here was with the P Series, and now with the XS Series. Like I said, designed heatsink that really allows it to stay cool, running cool light, and that's so important to your lights. So they really did a great job with the design of the body of these lights. So we're going to be getting into some testing here now, and we're going to do testing a little tiny bit different than what we normally do. So normally we're just checking in non-optimal conditions, but we've actually built a testing box. We're going to be able to test optimal conditions as well as our normal just on the floor. Let's see what she puts out just on her own. So we're going to do 2 parts testing like that, and then at the very end we're going to do a P1500 versus the XS1500 comparison, and we'll just put both of these lights together. As you see, we got them all here, and we'll just kind of look at what's different, what they changed, all the details, and we'll go from there. So let's get into the testing. So let's get a reading off the driver. So before I should go too far, ambient temperature is 22.3. Is that what it is? 22.3. And on the top of it, we are getting 50 degrees. 50 degrees. Let's hopefully you guys can see this. 50 degrees Celsius and 121 Fahrenheit. Let's see if we can even get a hotspot. The hottest reading that I'm getting is 53.4, 53.3, 53.6, and this is 54, and this is right under the driver. So 54 is the hot point. Hot point. 54 degrees Celsius, 129 degrees Fahrenheit. Now let's check the bottom of the board. Let's see what we can get here. 56.5 degrees Celsius, 135 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so now that we're done with the testing, let's kind of go over that results a little bit. So we started out with the 12-inch par map in a 2x2. So I have that up in front of me here. And we were getting some pretty high numbers off of that in that reflective environment. 1275, the highest number, 1309, which is pretty impressive out of this light. Full crank, though, you could tell it is a very bright light. So moving along down to the 14-inch, 1100, pretty much across the board, directly under the light. 700 in the corner, 634 in the other corner. Pretty impressive, even at 14 inches. So I think the recommended hang height here was for the 18-inch. You can see about 700-800, and it would be a little bit less than this in a grow tent as well. Just because of the 98% reflective mylar that I'm using, it's pretty reflective. So we get a 2.12 U multi-J out of the light in this section at 18 inches. So that's kind of a recommended hang height. So pretty powerful light. So we also did a couple of different tests in just the open floor. So let's say you were to, just have this light in the center of like a 10-foot room. And you wanted to see how much area you can go around. Here's the par map for that as well. So 12 inches here. You see still at over 1,000 in the center of 3 feet. You would probably be able to get away with 2.5 feet of veg with this light. Let's take a look at the 14-inch. Once again, pretty strong numbers. So yeah, no problem. I don't think you'd have a problem at all vegging with this light, 18 inches. Yeah, it's a pretty solid light. So really taking a look at that U multi-joule, I think we're really going to see those numbers from what we've seen with previous light testing. The bigger the light, the higher that number, closer to that number that we're going to see. They're saying 2.7. So it's going to be interesting to test larger lights. I'd really like to get my hands on the XS 4000, because that's where we're really going to get that opportunity to get really close to that 2.7. I'm interested to test that to find out. So hopefully down the road we can get one of those lights into to test. So I think what you guys are really interested now is kind of doing a comparison between the P series and the XS series. So I have one of the P series behind me. I'm just going to bring it forward just so you guys can have a better, closer look at it. All right, so now that we have the P series up and center here, up front with the XS series, let's take a closer look at the two. So obviously there's a big difference here in the driver with the Mean Well on the XS and using a Sanan driver on the P series. So Sasan's actually a pretty good company too. I've noticed quite a few other manufacturers starting to use the Sanan driver. But the differences between these two drivers, especially when it came to heat, the driver, Sanan driver, when we did our heat test, came out to 60 degrees, where the driver from the Mean Well driver, where we just recently tested, came back at 50 degrees. So that's a solid 10 degrees cooler running than the other driver. So obviously with the LEDs as well, we're using strictly the Samsung and the Sanan chips for these 660 and 730 IR. With this one here, it's using all Sanan chips, which are pretty powerful working. This light, the P series lights are really good. I had a really great yield harvest for my grow with my P series lights, and I'm only looking forward to better results with the new XS here. So I'm pretty happy about this. So when we look at the heat now, how hot did the lights run using the LEDs? With the P series on top of the light, we had 58 degrees. So it's pretty warm. With the new XS series now using the Samsung LEDs, it's actually dropped a couple degrees to 54 degrees Celsius. So a few degrees there, it's 4 degrees drop. We already mentioned the driver that it ran 10 degrees cooler. The Mean Well ran 10 degrees cooler than the Sanan, and that's obviously great, guys. The cooler it runs, the more heat you got to push out or pull out of your grow space. So let's take a look at the bottom. So the bottom of the board was actually 60 on the P series and 56 on the new XS. So that's a pretty good comparison right there, guys. This board overall will run cooler, quite a bit cooler actually. So that's pretty sweet. Yeah. So other differences here. Now I don't have the version with IR on my P series. At the generation 1, there's a new generation out now. So apparently the P series had 2 IRs, and this one here only has 1 IR right directly into the middle. So lastly, let's take a look at the 2 PAR maps. We got the 2 open floor maps. So we're going to put the P series now beside the XS and take a look. So as you can see, it's not much of a gain, but there is definitely a gain over the P series with the XS. It's got those powerful chips, those powerful Samsung chips, and it really has improved it quite a bit. So a couple percent better coming out of the Samsung chips. That's exactly what I figured was going to happen from testing all these other lights that use these LM301Bs. They seem to be pretty close to these other LEDs. So here we have it, guys. This is all the information that you're looking for. I hope I was able to answer everyone's questions in the video here today. If you guys are interested in looking for these lights, I will put links down below. I am an affiliate with ViparSpectra, as well as you guys already know that I'm sponsored by ViparSpectra, so these lights here came for testing free to me as well. So please come and join us in the official ViparSpectra group. I will put a link down below. If you have any more questions, throw them down in the comments down below. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the video. You'll have yourself a great day. Take care.